Okay. Looks like we're at 6 o'clock.
Not quite yet. We're seconds from being live, so give me a sec.
All right.
Okay, we're live.
Okay, great. Thank you, Steve. I'd like to welcome everybody to the December 8th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. Time is 6 p.m. And I'll read the statement to start. In accordance with the Utah Code, Section 52-3-207, Subpart 4, I have determined that conducting a meeting in the Roy City Council chambers presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who would be present. The basis for this determination is that due to the infectious nature and potentially dangerous health effect of contracting the COVID-19 virus, there is not sufficient space in the council chambers to provide appropriate, safe physical distancing for the safety of the individuals who would attend. Accordingly, the December 8th, 2020 meeting will be held electronically without an anchor location. We'll go to we'll start with the pledge. Commissioner Crowley has agreed to lead us in the pledge today. Whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Crowley. All right, we will move to agenda item number 1, which would be a declaration of conflicts. Do any commissioners have any conflicts that they need to declare at this time?
No.
No.
Being none, we'll move to agenda item number 2, which will be the approval of the November 10th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Oh, Steve has a question.
Just to let Annette know, she is an alternate at this meeting, and therefore she won't be able to vote for any of the items.
Okay, thank you for the clarification, Steve. So in agenda item 2, we are looking for the approval of the November 10th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Are there any changes needed to be made ahead of us approving the minutes?
Samantha, you had one. You want to bring it up?
Yeah, I thought on line 253, it said Parkinson twice.
243.
Oh, what did I say?
253.
Oh, 243. It said Parkinson twice in that line. Was that a mistake?
Yeah, it just needs to be removed.
Oh, that's what it is. Look, I read the minutes. Woo woo.
Hello.
We'll note those changes. Any other changes need to be made? Hearing none, we'll need a motion to approve the minutes with the suggested change.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes with the recommended change by Commissioner Phillips.
All in favor?
Need a second.
Second it.
Oh, we need a second. My apologies.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah, the meetings are approved. Minutes are approved, excuse me. So we'll move to the legislative items, which would be agenda item number 3, which will be a public hearing to consider request to amend the future land use map from medium density single family residential to commercial for the property located approximately 4324 West, 5500 South. We will be combining these 2 public hearings into one since they are regarding the same property. So any comments could be presented at the opening of this one. We will just have to have 2 separate motions for each of those public hearings. So, Steve, do we have anything first?
Proponent, Todd Grandstaff. Todd, you can take yourself off of mute, and if you can talk.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, we just want to change the zoning for this because there are 3 lots down there at that corner. two of them are already zoned for community commercial. And we just want to make this lot 3 the same zoning, because the only access we're going to get off of 5500 South is through lot 2. UDOT won't give us access off of 55 on the west side of the slough. So we just want to combine this and make this more appealing to future developers, to have that listed as community commercial there. What else do you need to know, I guess, about this?
Commissioners, any other questions?
Yes, do you have any questions for me? Just so that you're aware of, also that lots 1 and 2 down there are currently under contract with Holiday Oil. So this will help promote the sale of lot 3 if it's community commercial.
Okay.
Are they looking at taking the third lot or just the first 2 lots?
The first 2 lots.
Okay, so they don't have interest at this time for the lot 3, but it would, having that there would make sense. Okay, got it.
Yeah, they just want 1 and 2. Lot 3, with it being residential, it's not appealing to developers because it's not suitable because of the access off of 5500 South, where UDOT would not give us a curb cut for residential dwelling at that on that lot.
Okay, the interested party was, what was the name? Was that a gas station?
Yeah, Holiday Oil.
Okay, so I guess to clarify what my question was, if the third lot was zoned commercial, are they looking at taking the third lot as well? Or is it just a matter of they will take the 2 lots and then give access to the third lot as a commercial?
Yeah, they're only interested in lot 1 and 2. I have asked for an easement for lot 3 for access, which we have established prior. We were, yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions from the commissioners? All right, well, hearing none. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Steve? Is it up to you for the?
Well, let me talk a little bit. I'll kind of give some more information. Can everybody see the
Yes.
screen? Do you see just one image?
No.
See all your slides on the left.
And then the next coming item on the right?
We just see the planning commission first
Okay.
slide.
Okay. Can you see the next one?
Nope.
No.
Oh. It says legislative item, public hearing, item number 3.
Nothing's
No.
changed.
It's still your
Nice.
first slide.
Wow. One day I'll get this figured out. When I think I do, it's, hold on. Okay, let's go back. Okay, I want that screen. Nope. Ugh. That screen and share.
Sounds like they're launching a rocket. Anyone else hear that?
It's a little loud.
It sounds like no aircraft.
So what can you guys see?
It looks like you've got the PowerPoint up. We can see the little slides on the left.
So you got public hearing legislative item right now?
No, it's just the first slide.
You're still in design mode is what we can see. So you're not in presentation mode from what we have on our screen.
Okay, let me. It's getting irritating. Okay, let's put screen in. I'm gonna be done with here in a minute. Okay, so. What can you see now?
There it goes. You can see two screens, or kind of three. Your first slide, next slide, and then no notes.
Well, we'll go with that. Okay, so just kind of a reminder, this is a public hearing to consider request to amend the future land use map to medium density, single family residential to commercial. And then the zoning map from R18 to CC for the property at 4398 West, 5800 South. So an aerial vision or view of that, 4300 West and 5500 South, there's an intersection right here. The boundary line between Roy and Hooper is represented in red. So all of 4300 West is in Roy. And then this little area is in Roy, and then the rest is in Hooper that's to the left.
Hello.
The parcel in question is highlighted in yellow. The first two parcels that he was talking about are right in this area. So going kind of to the future land use map before 2017, this area was designated to be commercial, had been like that for, at least a decade or so. In 2017 or late 2016, they requested, Mr. Grandstaff requested for the parcel, well, let me back up. Before that time, before 2017, it was zoned RE20 with the designation land use for commercial. They requested in 2017 to change the zoning from RE20 to commercial for the first two parcels. Whoops. And then R18 or medium density for the third parcel. So this is kind of what they got it amended as. So the zoning map currently follows suit. You get an R18 parcel that's being requested to be changed to commercial, which will suit or be similar to the parcels to the east. So some questions that the commission needs to reflect upon are, does changing or not changing the zone provide the best options for development of this property? How can this property best be developed, either as single family residential or as commercial? And then what is best for Roy City? Those are things you'll have to kind of take into account and look at as you discuss this. Staff would recommend approval of amending the general plan from medium density single family to commercial, and then amending the zoning map from R18 to community commercial. You have any questions for me? No? Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Huh?
There being no questions, we'll move on to the public hearings part of the evening. So just before we go into the public comment session, I'd like to make everybody aware that they need to state their name and full address before speaking. And please keep your comments between 3 and 5 minutes so that everybody that wants to speak can speak on the issue. That being said, we'll look for a motion to go into public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we go into a public hearing. And this will be for both agenda item 2 or agenda item 3 and is it 2 and 3 or 3 and 4?
It's just item.
Or just agenda 3. So I'll recommend that we go into a public hearing for the future land use as well as the zoning change that's before us.
Second.
We have a second.
I'll
All in
second.
favor?
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Okay, we are now in public hearing. Steve, please bring us the first.
Okay, so I'll go in the order in which they requested to speak. So the first one would be Jeremy McReynolds. So give me a sec, Jeremy. I'll give you the ability to speak. Okay, you should be able to
Hear me?
yourself.
Okay. Jeremy McReynolds, 5494 South, 4425 West. I am the property in Hooper right behind this development that's currently residential. What you guys are saying is best for Roy City. As of October 20th meeting minutes, Mayor Dandroy is looking for large developments that would help the sales tax because you guys are in jeopardy of losing funding from UDOT to widen 5600. Currently, he admitted that 5600 is a traffic nightmare in these meeting minutes. There is no mixed development use ordinance allowing residential and commercial. So you guys are looking to adopt something from Clinton City. So it looks like you guys don't even have a plan yet going forward. And I don't understand why this little property, how it would help generate your tax revenue that you guys are losing right now. There's UDOT. So he's looking to bring businesses in, which is fine, but his focus is on new construction and large businesses to get the tax revenue. And currently I don't see that. And I'm assuming Holiday Oil is a gas station, which you guys have already had problems with 5600 and Freedom Elementary being right down the road. You guys had similar problems where Councilman Burrell were with, I guess there's an issue with the development with a school being too close and it was too busy, and there's looking to do community development, like an older folks community development next door, and you guys don't have the crossing guards to supply the area. And then you guys also, I believe your Hawkeyes are 150,000 a piece. So how do you guys plan on developing this area when it's a parking lot? Currently, when school gets out, there is nowhere to go. And let's see, there's one of my major concerns is Councilman Wilson also addressed being a nightmare with the school being too close to the area. So you guys, I guess my concern is you guys, after you guys figured out your car washes, in the meeting notes, the council realized that after they allowed all these car washes to come into play in Roy, they overdid it. And I just don't want the same thing here. There is no way to develop this area. It needs to stay residential. That's where, I mean, nobody wants their home value to go down. Again, there's concerns about development and schools being too close to assisted living. You guys don't have the crossing guard. So what does it cost for a crossing guard to be employed per year? So wouldn't the tax revenue off of a crossing guard and your Hawkeyes eliminate your tax revenue that you guys are trying to propose with the new business? Yeah, there's thousands of dollars here that's at stake, plus people in people's homes, you know? Nobody wants to have a gas station in their backyard. So I'm not in favor of this. And it looks like in your guys' meeting minutes, you guys are confused about the entire thing. You don't have a plan going forward. You don't have anything. So that's my piece. I just, I don't think there's a plan in place, and it's going to be a disaster going forward.
Thank you. Comments, sir?
If you would like, Chair, I could discuss some of these now or wait until.
Let's do them now so that the people, if they would choose to leave the meeting or early, they can get answers or questions. And
Okay. Well, some of it I'm a little confused on his comments on the October 20th, 2020 meeting minutes. When he talked about traffic nightmare, mixed use, residential, commercial, tax revenue. Those meeting minutes talking more about downtown Roy on 5600 South and 1900 West, and not in specifically to 4300 West and 5500 South. The city's always looking to have tax revenue. As mentioned, there are 3 parcels on the north side of 55 and west side of 4300 West. 2 of them are already zoned commercial. So if someone wanted to come in and build commercially on those 2 corner pieces, they can. This is just a request to make the 3rd parcel commercial. So, you know, to talk about too close to schools, the school's already there. This is by and large 60% commercial in this area for these 3 parcels. Crossing guard at the school, I mean, that's already existing, an issue, regardless if this gets rezoned, this 3rd parcel gets rezoned commercial or not. If it's a parking lot, when school gets out, those are things that the potential business owners will have to deal with. I don't think 5500 South would be the problem, but again, if that is an issue, then that will be something that has to be taken a look at. There is no real evidence about home values going down when next to commercial. I used to live next to commercial, and I sold my townhome for almost 3 times the amount of money that I bought it, only 8 years later. So, and we were right next to a car dealership and a large grocery store. So, to me, commercial, it doesn't bring down property value. And I'm not quite sure what the assisted living facility comment was either. Because in this area, there's no assisted living facility proposed.
Good.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
Thank you, Steve. Yep.
Mr. Sheldon Greener.
Yep, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
You're on.
Hey, so I'd just like to reiterate all that stuff that Jordan said. I know you've kind of gone through a bit of it, but
Sheldon, give us your name and full address.
Yeah. Sheldon Greener, 5638 South, 6800 West in Hooper. My what do you call it? My livelihood or whatever. I'm an insurance agent. I do deal with purchasing properties and, you know, insuring them on that end all the time. And most definitely proximity to commercial does affect home values. I'd like to make that clear. So I used to live right behind where the Ace Hardware or North Fork, whatever it's called now. When that was put in, I lived in Roy at 5638 South. Sorry, that's my new address. 3578 West, 5700 South in Roy. And when they put that development in, what they did with that ground, if you guys have seen they basically gave all the land, the homeowners right along that. I believe it was about 30 feet of ground as kind of like an easement. And they put up that cinder block wall all down 57 and then across to whatever that cul-de-sac is there. And that added like a little bit of a buffer to those people from the impact that was going to put in. I would recommend doing something like that in this case as well, so that these homeowners along that area aren't as impacted by that. My kids go to that school, Hooper Elementary, not Hooper, Freedom Elementary up there. And yeah, there's definitely issues with the traffic already in that area. I know you said that that's for the owner of the whatever business goes in there to deal with, but also that's the safety of our kids, you know what I mean? So I think that's something to keep in mind when we're trying to overload that intersection that's already extremely overloaded. A couple other points here. My understanding at the last meeting that I went to about this 3 years ago, it was, I don't know if it's the current owner or the previous owner of that ground was the one that requested to move it back, the zoning back to residential on it. So where is this coming from? Is this the city trying to move this back, or is this the owner trying to rezone this back to commercial? That wasn't quite clear in what was discussed before. And then one of the last points I have, that, I mean, when you put that map up, the slough runs right through that. Is that not protected wetland? So yeah, those are the kind of things that I'd like to have you guys address for me, if you would. Thank you.
Okay. The way that Roy City's zoning ordinance is there is already a requirement for buffer between commercial and residential. The developer does have the choice of which one they do, but it does come with requirements. So if the setback would be 20 feet, and if they chose a 20-foot separation, they would have to put up a concrete wall. The other option is if they chose 30 feet, then it could be a vinyl fence, plus landscaping in between that. So the ordinances are already built in that aspect to help protect. But that again is not part of the request to rezone. That'd be a development type issue the Planning Commission will look at. The intersection overload, again, most of the traffic in this area is coming east and west from, you know, those getting off of work or going to work, going through Roy in either direction. Luckily, there is already a signal light there, which probably has improved the dangerous aspect of heading north along 4300 West. And it probably does control the speed a bit. I'm not saying that it controls it completely, because again, people always find the option of speeding when they can. This is currently a request by the owner of the property, not the city. The city would only request to rezone general areas or their own property. And as for the Howard Slough, it wouldn't matter if it was residential development being requested or commercial development being requested. The slough will have to be looked at. They'll have to get with the Army Corps of Engineers to figure out what they can and can't do. If they look to piping it, then they'll have to look at, you know, what requirements the Corps will require. I know that in the past, people have been concerned with it being piped, but it's already piped to go under 5500 South. It's piped to go under 4300 West, and there are several streets in each direction where it's been piped. As for it being classified as a wetland, according to the FEMA maps, it is not a wetland. It is Zone X. I can if you want, I can share the screen that has the FEMA map with it. Can you guys see an aerial? Whoops. Get you guys out of my way. Can you see an aerial right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to pan out a bit, but my cursor will stay where the property is. Let's get rid of that. So, come on, kick in. Where'd it go? No, it's all in effect. Anyway, the only parts in Roy that are in wetlands is up by Sand Ridge Elementary and Sand Ridge Park. Parts of Hooper and West Haven are in the wetlands. I'm not sure why this map is not showing it, because it did earlier today and yesterday when I was looking at it. Of course, it has stage fright, I'll have to say. But it is not in it. Now, it doesn't mean that the Army Corps of Engineers doesn't have to take a look at anything that goes along there or anything that is built around there. I can bring the other maps that show it, but again, it's part of Zone X. It's not part of any wetlands. But again, Army Corps of Engineers will have to be dealt with when they develop the land. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Next one. It's Miss Lusk, but she is not here. Oh, no, there she is. Okay, Melissa and Larry Lusk. Can you hear, Melissa, can you hear us?
Are you not talking to me?
No, not you, Taurus.
Okay.
Melissa or Larry?
Yeah. Yes, we're
Okay.
here. We just wanted to hear and participate, but we don't have any.
Well,
Oh,
so
just kidding, we do.
it wasn't really clear. Sorry. It sounded like if we sell those two, if those lots are sold, and if this is just this isn't owned by Roy City, then maybe I don't care. But it sounds like that third lot was going to be kind of landlocked, and that wouldn't be beneficial, because we would back to everyone's issue here is you're not going to create any revenue if that property just sits and becomes an eyesore and nothing more than weeds.
So I guess our question is that third lot going to be landlocked by this development?
Well, from what the landowner said is they've gone to UDOT to request an access to that parcel from off of 5500 South, because 5500 South is a UDOT road, and they have to grant it, and they said no. For that would be is they only allow so many access points along their road, and you have to be a certain distance from that. So you've got one already at 5500 South and 43, and then you've got the next street, which I believe is 4425 West. And so they probably would only allow one access point into that property going north. And from what he said, it's lot 2 or the middle one that will have that access point. So lot 1 and 3 will not be able to access onto 5500 South without some sort of cross access agreements. The city wouldn't want to develop a residential neighborhood having to cross another private property to get to a public road or to get to homes. And with the property to the north of it not at this point looking to rezone or to build, gaining access to a public road is nil. So that's kind of, I think the landowners reasoning to request it to go commercial from residential like it is now.
Steve, this is Taurus. Didn't the proponent say that they have allowed an easement to that property from the curb cut that they get into the commercial property?
Yeah, they'll have to.
Between lots 2 and 3 is what he indicated there.
Yeah. And it'll be from 2 to 1 as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And before we go much further, we need to make sure we got the name and address of.
Oh, yeah, Melissa, Larry, can you give their address?
Oh, yeah. It's 1762 West, 4425 South, Roy.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
So is there a way to stipulate that?
Stipulate what?
Because I used to build homes, and so if you look up on the hill as you go up South Weaver Canyon, if you look up there on that hill, all those new homes that went in there, there's a piece of property that's just behind that is now landlocked, and the only way to get through to that is through the National Forest Service, and they're not going to allow that to happen. And what happened is the owner actually built that property out, and they didn't have any way of stopping that in between. So I would be hesitant to say that it's a good idea if you don't have a way to access it, because those lots could just wind up being nothing more than fields full of weeds.
Right. And that's, the owner said that they'll have to record easements across lot 2 to get to lot 3.
So that will be taken care of.
Okay.
So that hold up any building permit if that's not, is what I've seen some stuff happen, and I'm not trying to say that everybody's not honest, but having it down in writing and having it stipulated generally tends to keep people on, honest. And that would be my only concern, is that this would be addressed, and that would be the stipulation for the rezone, is that is part of it.
I mean, they can, it already would be part of it. And it sounds like the current owner will record something against the property to make it so. And then it can also be done via a subdivision plat. So there are already mechanisms to it.
Correct.
So some of the aspects of Holiday Oil owns lot 1 and 2, site plan wise, will require it, that there'll be access agreements, cross access abilities for lot 3.
It would be in the best interest of the owner to have that easement put into place, because if they don't, then that one lot becomes inaccessible and he gets stuck with it. So the current owner wants to have that easement before he sells the other 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for your comments.
It looks like, let's see, 1, 2, Mr. Jones, Kevin Jones is the next one. Kevin, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Name and
So we live in the house.
Name and address.
Kevin Jones, we're at 5445 South, 4300 West. We're the house directly north of the property.
Okay.
I guess our biggest concern is the increased amount of traffic that this is going to bring. Obviously, with us being right there on the property line, we're not real excited about having commercial property next to us. But just the amount of traffic that we've seen since they put in the stoplight, which is obviously a good thing, but because of the stoplight, the traffic on 4300 West has increased at least threefold in the last year or two, especially with all the construction that's going on further south. And I can only imagine how much more traffic we're going to have if you put in a gas station and a car wash and whatever else they're intended to do. So it's just, I don't know, if you sit here and watch all the kids walking down the street to go to school every morning, I know there's a stop or a stoplight and crosswalk attendants, but having the commercial development there is only going to increase the amount of traffic, and there's already enough as it is with what we've got going on. And our only issue is just, not wanting to see more traffic in the neighborhood area. That's pretty much all we got.
Let me kind of answer that by sharing my screen. Hopefully it works. Can you see a map? And you got kind of brown, yellow, blue, and green?
Yes.
Okay, so where my hand is the property being looked at to be rezoned. This is kind of wrong, drawn wrong. It should just be square. I'm not sure why it has that, but anyway, lots 1 and 2 are already zoned commercial. So even if, say, when this goes to council and the council denies it, Holiday Oil can build tomorrow. So the increase or decrease in traffic isn't contingent on if this parcel gets rezoned today or not. Now, if it doesn't get rezoned, then there's other issues that come with it, but lots 1 and 2 can already be developed commercially. So again, it's just that matter of should lot 3 be rezoned or not? And that's what the question is today. It's not whether or not commercial development can come in this area. It's already zoned to allow it to come. And from what the property owner said is Holiday Oil is already under contract to to purchase and then to build. So some of these concerns with traffic, again, traffic is going to be, and I hate to be sound insensitive, and I'll try not to be. And if I am, then I know Brody will correct me tomorrow when he sees me. But the sad part about traffic is until we as a community or we as individuals change our habits to where we're not reliant on the vehicle to go to work or to go to school or to go to other places, traffic will just increase. Hooper City, as the mayor has said many a times, by 2050 should be the same population size as Roy, and is actually destined farther out to be bigger than Roy population-wise. So this area, because 5500 South is a main road, will continue to increase in traffic. I think we'll experience a decrease in traffic, at least heading east, when the Legacy Highway or North Davis, whatever they call it nowadays, gets built and comes through and reaches this area. Then you'll see a decrease heading east, but it'll go west towards that freeway and alleviate some of the traffic. But until that happens, the only way to get out of there is I-15 heading south. Now, 4300 West is increasing in capacity, mainly because when Hooper and Clinton punched the road through, going over that Layton Canal down there, that is when people started finding out that I don't have to go to 3500 West. I can go to 43 and get home. Regionally, it's great. It's great because I can go from West Haven all the way down to Syracuse on 4300 West. Not having to get onto 3500 West where there's more traffic. So it does alleviate some problem areas in other sections of the world, but it is increasing in this portion of the world just because of the nature of the road. So will a gas station increase traffic? Probably more to stop and go, people coming to that intersection, going in and then coming out. But again, lots 1 and 2 aren't open for discussion to change because they already are community commercial. Hopefully that answers Mr. Jones's questions.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, let me unshare my screen if I can find it. It keeps hiding. There we go. Nope. Where'd it go again? Huh. Well, I'm gonna have to get a little bit more proficient at this because I can't find my, there it is. It's hiding from me. Okay. The next person was Joan Greenwood. Joan, if you want to unmute yourself and then state your name and address.
My name is, can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
My name is Joan Greenwood. My address is 4450 West, 5500 South in Hooper. This property used to belong to my dad, and I've lived here 72 years. We put up with the Roy City dump and the smoke and the garbage along the road. We put up with the rodeo grounds, lights and the dust and the noise. I don't think that the oil company has counted on the spring floods that come every year. Last year, in fact, and we're kind of in a drought season. I don't know that they've considered Quicksand Corner up there, but I know that Roy City is aware of it because they've pumped or they've brought in people for years and years to try and stabilize that ground on the corner. And that is clear up there on the corner. That's not even the property in question. The property in question has water running through it, water that floods every year. Roy City, I understand, doesn't take responsibility for flooding property damage caused by the flooding. And I know that because my daughter lost everything she owned in a flood over on 4800 South 3 years ago, 3500 South and 4800 South and 3500 West 4 years ago. I don't think Roy City is put 1 ounce of thought into this at all. And I know that the oil company hasn't, because I can't imagine that they would build any kind of a commercial property on a ground that is that unstable. I do think that I've got a stake in this property. I own a substantial amount of property still along 4425 West. And I think that I can speak for my neighbors here when we say that this is just really not a good thing. If they turn that last remaining strip into a commercial facility, I mean, what commercial facility is going to straddle the slough that already goes there? I know that they said we can pipe it. Well, Army Corps of Engineers has something else to say, as they did when they tried to pipe across 5500 in the subdivisions over there. That's where we used to go.
We're losing you, Joan.
Sorry.
We kind of lost you.
Along 100, and I know
You're breaking up.
it's coming of the impact that launch working either. um, that holds interest in take these homeowners' interests into consideration when you're making this decision? And now look.
Unfortunately, Joan, we lost you. You kind of broke up after you talked about piping the properties to the south. And then we didn't really hear you again until you said, take into account what the homeowner's desires were.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think that that's about all I have. I just hope you'll take the property owner's interest into consideration when you plan things like this. I don't think that that developer has got any, if it's still the same one from Bear River that come down a couple of years ago, I don't think he's got any interest at all in what goes on around here. Mr. Tafoya from Roy City Council called him at his home and said, bring me everything you've got. I don't care what it is, bring me everything. And he had everything at that meeting, from a convenience store to a high-rise office building, which apparently didn't go through because this last piece of property is still up. Anyway, just consider the homeowners, please. I appreciate your time and appreciate your listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments.
Okay. Well, I'd almost want to talk to Joan personally and pick her brain a little bit on the history of the area, for being living there in this neck of the woods for so long. One thing that always has to occur, and it is a requirement for building code, is that every property that's going to be developed has to have a geotechnical report done. And what they'll do is they'll look at, underground, what soils they have, where's the groundwater, and then determine how and whatever building is being built or being proposed, what they have to do in order to make it safe. So regardless if it's, the groundwater is 2 feet deep or 20 feet deep, the geotech will inform the developers of what they need to do and how to build and stabilize the area. Yes, water does go through it, and yes, it may flood from time to time. Those are things that all landowners have to take into account. Again, whether it was or is residential or commercial. Again, we're looking at just that third parcel to be changed. I do believe that the property owner, even though he may not live in the city, does have an interest in what's going on here because he does own land. And that's why he's requesting to rezone the property to make it so someone can develop on it. And I believe I wish we could hear everything that she had mentioned, but we lost connection kind of towards the end there. We do have one last person to talk. He's an alternate on the Planning Commission and would have recused himself if he would have been required to be, if the 7 of you hadn't come in. Mr. Felt, who would like to talk as a Roy City resident.
Again, I apologize for being late to the meeting and was unable to recuse myself personally at the appropriate time. But
Jason, we can barely hear you. I don't know if you can shoot your mic or.
I'm not sure. Let's see.
Then state your name and address for the record. No, that's worse. I can have Taurus's IT person come to your house.
She charges more than I do as a lawyer.
Still can't hear you, Jason. It went the other direction.
Whatever you did to fix it, go back.
Is this any better?
A little bit.
I'll make it quick then. I apologize I wasn't here personally to recuse myself at the appropriate time, but the home or the property owner basically mentioned everything I had intended to mention. Just as I worked with him, he's a client of mine. As I worked with him previously on this property, we did extensive work on trying to make something residential work on this piece of ground. Working with UDOT, it just wasn't feasible, which is why he's looking to go to more of a commercial approach to this, which seems to make more sense. And as a resident of Roy City, we're looking for ways to contribute more to our tax base and any commercial, if it's appropriate, seems like that would be a better option for this piece of ground than sitting vacant and generating nothing for the city. So that's the interest I have in it as a homeowner and as a resident of Roy. And that's the input I would have. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
And that be everybody.
Okay. Having everybody been able to have a chance to speak, we will be looking for a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
Got a motion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, we are now out of public hearing. Any commissioners have any comments or questions that you want to bring up before we take a vote?
So maybe just to have a little bit of discussion on this, I think just to be clear, the two lots on the eastern part of that are already commercial. And those are the two that the gas station, and that's really irrelevant to this, but the two that the gas station wanted are under contract. So that's already locked in as commercial and kind of in place. And so then really we're just looking at that third parcel. It's kind of an odd parcel with the slough running through it. I don't think there's much value in that staying residential, just in kind of looking at it as is. I don't know commercially what they can do with the slough there. That's going to be a problem they're going to have to solve and work through. But just kind of looking at it, I don't think there's much impact to traffic and things like that with that third parcel, with what the size of it and things like that. I don't know. Does anybody else have any other thoughts on that? Leaving it residential, there's nothing that can really be done with that residentially if it's left where it is.
To me, looking at it with only the one access, if you're going to do residential, no residential builder's going to want to build on a lot that you can't get access to. So with the commercial, you can have that easement. I suppose you can have that easement to go into some homes, but it's as a homeowner, you can't have that. I can say as a homeowner, I wouldn't want that.
Yep. Residential properties have to have access to a public street. And an easement would not be.
So then it becomes landlocked.
Right.
You can't
Unless
do that.
the property to the north of it, all of a sudden starts developing and can bring that road down, it's landlocked.
I agree with pretty much what Ryan was saying. A lot of the comments and concerns were mainly already about the gas station, but that's pretty much already said and done. It's more just for the property owner to kind of go back to the way it was with the commercial and then try to make whatever use he can out of it with the easements. It's like you said, the residential is landlocked, and it'll just be, like one of the other people said, it's just going to be like a field of weeds, just sit there forever. But if it's commercial, at least we'll have an opportunity to hopefully put something in there. hopefully generate some tax revenue as well. Because like you said, with Hooper, it's just going to blow up in the next 20, 30 years. And I think maybe something will get put there eventually, if not sooner.
This property's had issues before, of course. So, I mean, this is, of course, not our first time visiting this area. So anything that's done here has to go through the Army Corps of Engineers anyways. So even if it's zoned commercial, it can be sold as the one piece. And if then not developing it as putting buildings on it doesn't have to be an option. They could just leave it as part of a viewing area, or maybe a little, side rest area cut out from their own. Anyway, I agree with most what's been said already tonight. As long as the, like the land does have to be looked at, and they does have to have plans for it, for the water in the area. So.
And if I remember right, the last time we looked at this area, that corner, they didn't have the traffic lights up there that they do now.
Correct.
That's correct.
Has this 5,500 been widened in that section, or is it still?
It hasn't yet. It's not scheduled till phase 3 of UDOT's plans, which is, and Jason Felt may know more what phase 3 is, but it's like 2025 beyond, or 2030 beyond. They're more looking to widen 55 or 5600 south from the freeway to 3500 west first before they head even farther that way.
Well, if the gas station comes in, will they have to kind of back that off so that they're not?
Well, that's something UDOT will have to take into consideration when
More than likely, I think they would at that time.
Excuse me.
Anyway. Okay.
And when development comes along a UDOT road, we request a letter from UDOT approving the access and everything. So if they want to purchase whatever widening portion they want along there, they can at that time. So it's up to UDOT.
Okay.
Any other commissioners have any questions? It sounds like we've kind of slowed down.
We're ready for a vote.
Okay, well, it sounds like we'll be needing a motion on these. They will be two separate items. So keep that in mind when you're making your motions. Ready for a motion? For anybody ready to make one?
So the general plan is one motion, and then the zoning map is the other motion, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
You're just recommending approval. So.
Okay.
Or denial, or whatever it is.
All right, well, I recommend approval that we amend the general plan from medium density, single family residential to commercial, as outlined in the.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Roll call vote, Steve?
Yes. Commissioner Brand?
Aye.
Commissioner Ashby?
Aye.
Commissioner Collins?
Aye.
Commissioner Payne?
Aye.
Commissioner Cowley?
Aye.
Commissioner Spar?
Aye.
Commissioner Bills?
Aye.
Okay. Passes 7-0.
Now we need a motion on the second item.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve amending the zoning map from R18 single family residential to community commercial as outlined in the report.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Bills?
Aye.
Commissioner Cowley?
Aye.
Commissioner Collins?
Aye.
Mr. Brand?
Aye.
Commissioner Spar,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner Ashby.
Aye.
Okay, 7-0.
Okay, thank you guys, everybody, excuse me. So we can now move to agenda item number 4, which I've been looking forward to
Thank you.
this one, which will be the election of chair and the vice chair for 2021. Steve?
If you want, I'll take control over this. The unfortunate part is Commissioner Mifflin and Felt are not eligible because they are still alternates at this time. But anybody else is eligible. So do we have a motion for next year's chair?
I move that Commissioner Crowley be voted as chair.
We have a
I thought we
second.
were friends.
I'll second it.
Who was that?
I'll second it.
Payne? Do we have any other motions? If,
I make a motion that we keep Jason.
oh,
I like your American flag background.
Thanks.
okay. We got a second on the motion of Collins for Spar.
I'll second that.
Ashby. Any other motions? Hearing none. Okay, so it looks like Cowell or Spar. Or Cowley, sorry, Cowell. There we go. We're changing your name, Ryan.
Cowley.
I vote they fight for it.
Ooh.
Put him in an MMA ring.
I
Fight
don't know how
Club.
to do that online though, Samantha.
Well, they could just video themselves. Boom, boom, boom.
Generate some revenue for pay-per-view revenue for Roy.
Woohoo!
And increase our tax base, right?
Okay, with that, if you could raise your hands if you are in favor of Commissioner Cowley as being chair.
The alternates have a vote.
Okay, hold on. We got Bran, Payne, Spar, and Bills. Uh-oh. Okay. All those for Commissioner Spar to remain as chair.
Can I vote twice? Okay.
No, because then it.
Are you a Democrat?
I'm just glad it's not me.
Okay, well, Commissioner Cowley has got 4 votes to Jason's 3. So, Mr. Cowley, you are chair for next year.
Congratulations,
Speech,
Chairman.
speech.
You've done a great job yourself.
Jason.
Don't worry, the punishment is not over yet. So I have a motion for vice chair.
I vote for Jason.
Needs to be in the form of a motion.
Oh, I motion Jason.
No. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Do we have any other motions for vice chair? Okay, seeing none, all in favor for Commissioner Spar to be vice chair? Just say
Aye. Oops.
any opposed? Jason, you're not going to oppose it?
Put your hand down, Jason.
Okay, so for 2021, it'll be Commissioner Cowley as the chair and Commissioner Spar will be vice chair.
Not
Okay, I'll turn it back to you, Commissioner Chair Spar.
Okay, thank you, sir. I would congratulate the people, but I'm one of them, so that would be self-serving, wouldn't it? So we'll move on to agenda item number 5, which will be commissioners' minutes. Yeah, any commissioners have anything for Steve?
On the
General.
scheduled meetings for next year, I just wanted to point out that August 10th is the municipal primary election. I don't know if we want to hold a meeting on that night or not. I won't be here regardless, but sometimes it's just good to avoid those election dates. So just wanted to maybe bring that up and point that out.
Well, that's why you have a
Municipal
vice,
what?
didn't you, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you're still welcome to meet. I know it's just kind of historically been one of those nights that, you know, the city council will cancel on election night. So I just wanted to raise that. And I don't care if we want to meet.
No.
I obviously I won't be there, but I'm fine if we want to meet or.
No, I'll put it on there if everybody's okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
I mean, holding tradition to it, so we'll do that. Thank you, Ryan. Doesn't sound like anybody else.
No, it sure doesn't. Hearing none, I think we're going to move to the staff update. Steve, which will be you again.
I really don't have much to update. Yeah, the rezone that you guys recommended last time was heard by the council last week. It was tabled, barring a development agreement to be written up, kind of with some thoughts of restriction height, and that it can only be storage units that are built. So they're in the process of formulating that development agreement, and then they'll be back on the council when that's prepared and ready. Other than that, I know the townhomes over there on 4,000 South in Midland just asked for 2 more permits for 6 plexes, so they're moving right along. Other than that, that's all I've got.
Okay, Steve. Thanks. Anybody got any questions for Steve before we go for the final motion?
I make a motion to keep Steve in the position he's in.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'll second.
I don't know if that's a voting item, but
no. Okay, well, that being said, I think we'll move to agenda item number 7, which would be a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion?
So moved. So moved.
It's the fastest motion of the night.
who seconded it?
Everyone?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, we are now adjourned.
Do we have
Thank
a
you,
work
everybody.
session this month? Or no, is this the last one?
I mean, it falls 3 days before Christmas. I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Unless
Then
you
Merry
guys
Christmas.
Unless you guys really want one, I wasn't planning on it.
Okay. Merry Christmas, everyone. See you in a year.
Everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right, Merry Christmas.
See ya.